Grave Tone.
Welcome to Grave Tone Podcast, where horror comes to life in every form it takes. I'm Megan.
I'm Arthur.
And we have another review 2 days after our first review. Whoops.
It's okay.
It's fine. Weirdly, I feel like there's a lot of stuff coming out.
There's a lot of stuff coming out
this month. Like, I don't know what's going on, but it feels as though there's a release every week, and I'm like, oh, shit. I thought January was the quiet month.
No, it's a great start of the year.
Yeah, it is. It's true. So we just got back home from seeing We Bury the Dead, which had its premiere at South by Southwest in 2025, but just had its wide release in North America, at the very least, just today, January 2nd of 2026. And I believe is getting a release, if I'm not mistaken. I saw in Australia February 5th, which is so weird because this movie is set.
Yeah, exactly. You should have gotten it first.
Yeah.
If anything.
Yeah, it's very weird.
I'm
not really sure why. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's going on.
Strange. Okay.
Yep. Do we want to do first impressions first?
What's the premise of the movie?
Okay, yes, fine. Okay, let me read the little IMDb synopsis, which is like a tagline more than anything. Okay.
Okay, well then we'll tell you the real one after the crappy one.
Yeah. After a catastrophic military disaster, the dead don't just rise, they hunt. Ava searches for her missing husband, but what she finds is far more terrifying.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. But the film's okay. So the film does follow a woman named Ava, played by Daisy Ridley, who travels from the States to Tasmania specifically after the entire island essentially was hit accidentally.
Almost the entire
quote
island.
unquote, yes.
Yeah. Well,
and
the
decimated.
US military tested things.
Was testing a weapon of some sort.
Yeah, that
allegedly,
quote unquote, killed people.
Yes.
But some of them come back.
Seem to have some sort of cognitive ability that returns somehow. So there's an entire military operation underway, obviously, to collect and, bury the bodies of all of those, or, dispose of the bodies of all of the people who were killed. According to the news report at the beginning of the film, there were roughly 500,000 people were killed after the blast, almost instantaneously. And so Ava travels because her husband, who was on a work retreat in Tasmania, was there when the weapon was detonated. And, of course, she wants to, if possible, go and find him.
Yeah.
She does cling to some hope that perhaps he's still maybe alive, or that maybe she can find him and at the very least have some closure in some capacity. And so she gets permission to travel over there to do so. And that's it. It's sort of, we follow like her entire journey while she's there, essentially, and everything that she deals with. So so this is a zombie movie that is one of those times where, like,
It's a zombie.
Well, yeah, but this
movie.
is one of those times where a zombie film is like, the real horror isn't like the zombies themselves. It's everything else that's going on. It's what's occurred in the first place. It's all those kinds of things. And that's kind of like, I think that's meant to be like what we kind of get out of it to a degree, is sort of like the metaphor behind it and that kind of thing. And it's more about the relationships between the characters than the, monsters or the zombies basically that are around them.
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I didn't really like the movie that much.
No, me neither.
Because for me, a zombie movie is a zombie movie. I don't need no metaphor
mind
higher level of thinking about this movie. It's fine if it's there, but it should not be the main premise and point of this story. I mean, point fine, but not like the whole overarching idea.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't mind. I don't think I mind it as much as you do, because I'm not a huge fan of zombie films as a rule to start off with.
I love zombies. That's why I'm like, where are they?
So you got a little bit annoyed with this, which is fair. When they're there, they're cool, but like, it's a little bit trite, but I guess my thing is more that if this is going to be the type of story that we're telling, and this is like a metaphor for other things that are occurring between the characters and things like that, it needs to maybe be more impactful, or find a way to do so either through the script or the direction or something in that capacity. And so I guess overall the movie kind of fell flat for me that way.
No, it was just like nothing really happened.
And the unfortunately, particularly towards the end of the film, we won't get into it right away, but particularly towards the end of the film, the level of cliche really ramped up in a way that I'm like, oh, this actually made it worse. I don't think that this made it better. I think a little bit more ambiguity maybe would have actually been nice in something like this.
Yeah, it's true. Like in the whole, I feel like it almost went into like a religious connotation, which is fine,
Not-
but it was just like
Yeah.
so on the nose almost. Whatever.
Oh, yeah, maybe that's what it felt. I agree. I think that's a good way of putting it. I think it felt a little bit too on the nose.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we get into
Well, I
what?
just want to tell you, if
Yes.
this ever happens, do
Yes.
not come and get me.
No,
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 no, it's fine.
okay,
So because that was asked in the movie, right? Kind of, it was like, okay, well, oh, you go there and you find him, and then what?
and then what? Yeah,
Like, what is the point?
yeah, but we do find out, and again, we're going to get into it. We do find out part of the reason I think that she's decided to do this. I think under other circumstances for this couple, she may not have made that decision, but it's all specifically based on what we find out about how they left things before he went on his trip.
But then again,
I know. I'm not
even
saying
if
that it's necessary.
even if
I'm
you
just
had like
saying.
the biggest fight ever and whatever it is, and then this happens, you find the person, and then what?
Except-
They're either dead, or they are the undead, whatever it is that you can't really do anything with. Like,
I know.
so
Okay, well, look, let's get into some other aspects of things, and then we can talk about some of like my thoughts about that, and sort of like how like my level of confusion about that, maybe just because I'm a different kind of person, but just with regards to that specific point.
Right.
Okay, so where are you sitting in terms of digs at the moment?
how much do you dig? No.
No.
How many digs do you give this movie? There you go. Hey, I haven't done it in a long time. I say it.
Fine, God. Yeah, I wish I liked this movie more. There's a lot about it that is good. Like the visuals are very good. The zombies themselves, when they're on screen, are pretty cool.
Very cool.
Daisy Ridley gives a very good performance in the film and everything. So I'm gonna go. I want to say the first half of this movie, I think, would have knocked me up to a good like 5.5, maybe
Wow,
even a
okay,
6. The first half of this movie I thought was pretty solid, but then things started to drag and it started to get more cliche, and so it knocked me down. So I think I'm at like a 3 right now.
Yeah. Yeah, basically me too. Like it's definitely a 3,
Yeah.
barely.
Yeah.
And just because there's a couple of good scenes and the zombies are not bad, maybe a 3.5
Yeah.
or 4 or something like that. But yeah, it's around that. It's not what I wanted to see from a zombie movie.
No, I know. All right, shall we bring Gary out and get started on some of the more plot points?
Even Gary doesn't want to talk about this
No,
movie.
I know. Help us out, Gary. We need it.
You've been warned. Spoilers ahead.
Okay. So, like we do anyway, and we've done this with some of the ones that we haven't liked as much anyway. This is going to be our first time, I guess, like having a less enjoyable film for just the beginning of this year. We got to do 3 favorites because we're always
That's
doing
fine
3 favorites.
because the movie wasn't all crap.
It really wasn't. No, this is
It
like
had good ideas and
Yeah.
things that we're going to discuss. But
no, for sure. It's just, yeah, there was a lot that was lacking, and when I find myself part of the way through a movie being like, how much longer is left in the movie?
Yep.
It's a bad sign.
Yep,
It's always
exactly.
a bad sign. So that's kind of where I'm sitting with it. So, do we want to start? Do you want to start? Do you want me to start?
I'll start. I
Okay.
mean, look, because it is a zombie movie, they did do a good job with the zombies.
Mm-hmm.
They were freaky.
Yeah.
Their character design and everything, the way that some of them acted, the progression, I guess, that you see
Mm-hmm.
of what's happening to them throughout the movie. Because at the beginning, they're like not really moving or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they're a little bit moving and then they kind of get violent. And then there was even like this, I guess, a glimmer of hope that a zombie had some kind of cognitive abilities
Yeah.
of some kind.
To be fair, I thought that was really interesting.
I thought that was very interesting, and I really hoped, because like by the time we
that they
saw
would have
that
like
scene,
expanded on
yes,
it.
by the time we saw that scene, I knew it was not going to go there.
I
So I
know.
was like, okay, fine. But I was really hoping at the beginning that this is where they would go
I thought that would have been
in some kind of way.
Yeah, that would have been
Um,
interesting.
They really didn't.
No.
So, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But like I said, the zombie design and everything was pretty cool. There's even a couple of scenes where they were actually freaky, like intense situations, like that scene in the trailer, when the guy's running after her and they get into the bus.
Oh, the
or whatever it
bus,
is.
yeah,
that's
yeah.
it.
The bus that's it, like a chase/fight scene between Ava and one of the
Yeah.
zombies, and they're in a bus. That visual was very cool.
So it was great.
I
The
thought that
visual was
nice.
great. The scene was intense, and like I thought the whole movie was going to be like that. It
Yeah.
was not.
No.
But like I said, the zombies were pretty cool. So.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Yeah, I will say, I think for me, my first, I guess, like my first favorite, whatever, will be probably the visuals themselves. Like there were like a lot of really
of the like the shots,
like a lot of the shots in the film and the composition of the shots I thought were very good.
Okay.
There are a couple of cool scenes. So, Ava has volunteered to take part in like a cleanup crew, essentially, like people who are volunteering to help to locate bodies, make sure none of them are coming back in any capacity. And of course, when that does happen, the military immediately kills them instead of asking questions, because that's what the military does. So, yeah. So she's chosen to do this. However, obviously her ultimate goal is to head down the coast all the way to basically the edge of the island, which is where the resort that her husband was staying at is located, in the small town named Woodbridge. So she's trying to get there. However, because there are still a lot of fires from the bomb, essentially, in those areas, they're completely cordoned off and no one has yet made it to that point. So she's decided to do this. She decides to take off essentially and sneak off in that direction. And she does so with her body finding partner named, what was his name again? Clay, right? Yep. Yes, that one's Clay. And the other one's a different one. Okay, yeah. So named Clay, played by Brendan Thwaites, who I think most people will probably know from the Titans TV series, because he played Dick Grayson / Nightwing / Robin, original Robin, who's now Nightwing, blah, blah, blah. He was in Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. He was in The Giver, Oculus for Mike Flanagan fans. So Karen Gillan is the sister. He's the brother in Oculus. Damn, okay. Yeah, we haven't watched that in ages, so...
Wow. It's been a long time.
Yeah. So, so he's an Australian actor, and he seems to have a pretty hefty career, actually. He's got a lot going on, this guy. So, yeah, because he popped up, and he has long hair and a beard in this, which normally he doesn't in most other things I've seen him in. So I was like, oh, why does this guy look so familiar? That's why. So played by Clay, who's just kind of, again, there because he's trying to prove a point by helping out, but he doesn't really care that much about what's actually going on in the sense of, like, really, like, assisting the military in any capacity. So he agrees to take off with Ava and help her head down the coast and hopefully find her husband named Mitch. So I just found, I guess, like, it was not as much at the beginning because you're mostly just in, like, the small towns that they're traveling through and, like, finding the bodies and all of those kinds of aspects of things. But I found when they did take off, a lot of the shots, like, along the journey were really beautiful, and they're just, like, a couple of really interestingly composed and just, like, nice looking shots in general. When they start getting to some of the areas where more of the like the fires have occurred, when they're looking for gas masks and stuff, essentially to protect themselves. There's a scene where that's it. They find some in an ambulance, they drive away, and there's a zombie that, like, pulls itself out. It's got, like, no legs, and it, like, pulls itself out onto the street and stuff, and it's all like the smoke is everywhere. I thought it looked really cool.
So I like the other shot, the next one.
Which one?
When they they're on a hill overlooking the city.
Oh, yeah.
And the camera rises, and it's all, like, just dark red skies and fire everywhere.
Like, a lot of it looked really cool.
Yeah, so seriously, so I agree. They had a couple of shots that were nice. Yeah. That was one of them. There's another one when they're driving on the highway. It's like a shot from the drone type of thing from above.
Yeah.
Like the ocean's there, and there's stuff on the highway and whatever it is. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah.
I thought they did a decent job with it. So yeah, that was my first one.
Okay.
What's your second favorite?
It's hard.
What's harder is when a movie's not total dog shit, like when it's not so bad that you can talk about how terrible it was and all of the reasons, and it's not incredible, so you don't have a ton of great things to say about it. It's when these weird middle of the road ones hit, you're like, it was a movie, I guess, and you kind of forget about a lot of it immediately after you watch it. It's weird. It's hard to do.
I guess, like, there's a couple of scenes that were intense, which I liked, because of, kind of like the story building and the way that it left, or the way that, I guess, it led to those scenes.
Yeah, I could see that. I
like that part. I wish more of the movie was that.
I know.
But it was not.
No.
But when it had its moments, they were good. So it wasn't all just whatever. They had some good scenes.
I agree. I actually think that I might like
at least one jump scare that made me jump.
Yes, true. Yeah, for sure. And I will say, I think for mine, I will say that because of some of these things, some of, like, the aspects of the storytelling and stuff were good, because I guess the emotional impact actually does feel real for Ava's character and what she's dealing with.
Yeah, because she's good.
She is, yeah. That's it. Oh yeah. Just spoiler alert. My third favorite is Daisy Ridley because I thought she really carried pretty much this entire film.
Well, I mean, me too. But I was going to say both of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's true. Brendan Thwaites as well.
They were great.
They were great.
Both of them were great.
And also the other character, his name is Riley. He's a soldier who shows up.
Yeah.
He was immediately creepy to me. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like he looks insane almost right away, and like the way that he speaks about the zombies and stuff, I'm like, okay, no, this guy's suspicious. There's something fucking wrong with him, and it turns out I'm right, obviously. But anyway,
well, that's Spidey sense.
No.
Even through movies.
A weird man. I'm like, not red flag. Nope. Absolutely not. And I will say too, a lot of the weird red flag stuff that happens with this character, Riley, I feel bad for Ava because it's a rock and a hard place situation.
Yeah, of course.
She's trying to get to her destination and she's literally alone in this and feels like she has no other option. Yeah. So I do feel bad for that.
And again, there was another point in that whole scenes with him where I was like, okay, maybe they're going to expand on the whole what happened with the people and like because some of them behave differently and whatever it is, because he like, you know, again, we're talking spoilers here, in the barn he keeps some of them chained and he has like notes on a big board in terms of how many days
He's been
and what's happening.
observing them to see their behavioral pattern.
And it was really interesting, and then it was just like, okay, no, we're going to completely pivot away from it and just continue with her trying to escape or whatever.
Do you know?
And I was like, come on, man, give us something. I don't know, capture her for like a day. Explain what you're trying to do.
Do you know what I think the problem is? This is one of those films that's doing that thing that some horror films carry very well, which is that it has a very expansive world and kind of lore because you're finding out all of these additional things from about the zombies, about how they're behaving and things like that. And like this could mean something, but you don't get all of the information because you are following the everyman. You're following regular people. So you're not necessarily privy to all of the information about it. So you're getting bits and pieces. Some films do stuff like that, but it works because of either the type of film that it is or the circumstance that the characters are in. So like if I think of something like Cloverfield, like the first Cloverfield film, right? You are following a bunch of like college-aged people with a camera who get some information as to like the alien invasion that's taken with a camera. Shut up. Who follow, like, you know, who are just stuck in this like alien invasion that's happening in their city. And, you know, you are treated to some information via military personnel and things like that. But because you're not following the military or anybody who has like a higher rank or maybe more knowledge in any capacity, you don't really find out that much information. And there's a lot of ambiguity to it. However, in that style and circumstance, because it's a found footage film following a bunch of kids who have just found themselves in this situation, I feel like it works better. And you're like, I guess this is the type of story where I don't need all of the answers to those questions, as opposed to something like this, because she's with the military for so long and it's not shot in the same way. Like, it's not a found footage film, so you're not expecting it to be as ambiguous as it is necessarily. We're being given these little nuggets of like, oh, that's fascinating that some of them have this cognitive ability that's returning and they're acting differently, and maybe they get more aggressive and maybe they don't in some cases, and stuff like the scene that you mentioned earlier where there's somebody who's cognitive enough when they come back to bury other bodies and basically, without being able to vocalize it, ask Ava to kill him. Yeah. Like, he waits for her to do it. And I thought that was fascinating. And the idea of that is really interesting. And you're given kind of little bits and bobs of that. But because the movie is really just following the horror that she herself is experiencing, you don't get... It's like they give this really cool idea, but then they do nothing with it, and you're like, oh, but that's the issue. And it was really disappointing.
Like, I wish we could have learned more.
Yeah,
and there's ways and devices to do that.
Yes,
but it wasn't done.
No,
it's like they shine this nice little coin in front of them. They're like, nah, fuck it, and they just toss it, and we keep going.
I was like, you can't help but be kind of like, well, is it because you didn't know, you weren't sure either when you were writing it?
No, it's because they had a story to tell, and the story did not follow the idea of discovering what those zombies could be.
It's not a zombie movie. It's like a woman's sort of dark drama, basically, in discovering certain aspects of her relationship.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it is.
Yeah, or coming to terms with the end of her relationship, really. That's pretty much that is what it is, right? So
I know, yeah, that's the metaphor, but
because that's the backstory, right? Is that prior to Mitch leaving on his work retreat, they had, you don't know obviously until the very end, of course, but I had a pretty good idea when we saw a couple of scenes of conversations between them. So obviously they had been struggling to conceive. It had caused a lot of tension in the marriage, and then Ava wound up cheating on Mitch with someone and having sex with someone else. He found out about it. She told him, actually. She did come clean, and they left things on a bad note with him leaving for his retreat, which she asked him not to do. And he was angry, obviously, and ignored her and left. And when she finally does, at the end of the film, make it to the retreat and find his body, because obviously he is dead, of course, she discovers very quickly that he had slept with someone else that he was working with, I think, while he was on the trip. Now, could it have been a long-standing affair? Maybe. But also, chances are it was like retaliatory in some way. He was retaliating against her because he was angry that she had cheated. So he did the same.
Exactly. And this is kind of like the metaphor of the movie, is that when that happens, when I guess a relationship ends that way, the person is either dead to you.
There's no closure.
Well, there's no closure, but also, you know, they're either dead to you or they're kind of like there, but also not there.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you know, I guess you can get not violent, but you know what I mean? Like there could be outbursts and stuff. And maybe sometimes there's also a way to get past it and, you know, continue with the relationship, which is kind of like, I find that is what all the different zombie types or behaviors that we saw showed.
Oh, yes, I see what you're saying.
What I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah, but...
Like the calm ones versus the aggressive ones
that's
versus the ones that seem to be more aware of what was going on, that kind of thing. Yeah, I get you.
It. So it's that. I don't know. I am, like I said, a zombie fan.
Yeah.
I want zombies that try to kill people.
Yes, correct, yes.
And some kind of survival story or them trying to fix it or whatever it is in the movie. Yeah. I don't need it to be a metaphor of a failing relationship.
You're like I miss just the 28 days later day.
The zombie movies do not need to be high level, like
because
cognitive. Think about it once you're done. No. This is very much double tap. Let's go.
The problem is that when they do that, when they have more of an emotional impact because they're telling a more emotional story, they have to do it in such a particular way.
Hey, like Train to Busan can do it.
I was going to say, if I don't get like Train to Busan level reactions where I cried so much the first time I watched that movie, if you don't get that, because that's not the emotional impact that you've built to, because you don't, you haven't gotten the opportunity to really connect with the characters that much necessarily, which was another bit of an issue with this, I think. It doesn't have the same impact on you. So you're just kind of like, oh, we did all this, and I'm like, okay, I guess. Yeah. And then the ending for me, I was like, no, I hate this. I hated that. So Riley's character, the soldier,
that whole thing.
I hated that shit. So he tries to recreate his wife and in-laws were killed in the blast, and she was pregnant, unfortunately, with their first child. So again, a lot of the things that are happening, I'm like, this is very sad, obviously. He's obviously spiraling and wants to like recreate like final moments with his wife. So he asks Ava /threatens Ava to dress up as her and pretend to be her so they can have one last dance. It's uncomfortable and creepy. Yeah. And then he loses his mind when Ava won't take off her own wedding ring. She's like, fuck no, I'm not going to do that. That's insane. So all of that leads to a confrontation in which, one, she discovers that he's just chained a bunch of zombies in the fucking barn, and two, she kills him to get away. Blah, whatever.
But also that his wife is in the house.
But also, yes, that's it. He's chained all of the other zombies up. However, his dead pregnant wife is in the house, and she is also one that's semi come back and is like kind of aware of what's going on. It seems anyway that she's kind of aware of what's going on, because they have like a mind meld moment. And then at the end of the film,
that character is like 30 seconds on
whatever.
The screen.
And then at the end of the film, Clay and Ava are driving away, and they come across the pregnant one in the middle of the road who has given birth. And Ava hears the baby crying and goes running off to find the baby, who does not look zombified, by the way. It just looks like a regular newborn child. And, of course, is happy about this because, of course, she wasn't able to conceive a child on her own, and now she can have one. And I was like, oh, God, okay.
No, I am shaking my face with a frown right now.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I was like, I had a bad feeling when we saw that the wife wasn't actually like completely dead and she was around. I was like, ah, fuck, she's going to give birth to a fucking zombie baby. Like, really, guys? And then she did. And I was like, ugh.
Which was not a zombie baby.
No, whatever, fine. A regular baby. And it's blah, blah, blah. Like, to your point that you mentioned earlier, there's quote unquote hope. La-di-da.
A hope of what?
Well, because the baby wasn't killed
Well,
somehow and was somehow able to be born,
Okay,
which
but
also
is
biologically makes no sense because her brainwaves stopped, but whatever.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I have no idea how that happened. But anywho.
I don't know. I'm just saying, I just mean like hope of what? That maybe something somewhere
or there
people
would
are
be
going to come back?
Yeah, there would be a possibility to maybe actually bring people back in
thing.
some way. I know, whatever. And we don't get, it's not like we get any moment where she's been able to like let the military know about this or anything. It just ends with the baby at the end and that's it. And you're like, okay. What was the point of this? I have no idea. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I wanted more from it. It was an interesting premise. It had a lot of really cool zombie world ideas.
Yes, but none of them are expanded.
And then no payoff whatsoever.
You just take a peek and like let it go.
Yeah, pretty much. It was unfortunate.
No.
He's really disappointed. I feel like for you, it's even more like for me, I'm like, I would just like there to be better storytelling. For you, I feel like every time we see a disappointing zombie specific film, you're like, ah. You get really upset about it.
No bueno.
Yeah. Anyway, look, whatever. It is what it is. Everybody's always like, the January horror movies are shit. Who knows, guys? We're getting other good stuff before the end of
there's more stuff coming out. It's fine. If you want a zombie movie that is not a zombie movie because you want something different, check it out.
Sure.
Just letting you know.
Check it out. Like we said, Daisy Ridley's great.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly. So, hey, you might enjoy it more than we did. Who knows? Anyway, that'll be it for us. I think we've got, I don't know if there's more releases next week, or we've got other stuff that we're going to dive into a little bit as well.
Oh, we're doing research on the failure of the Dark Universe.
Yeah, we wanted to do like a
thing.
It's a whole thing, and we wanted to do like a whole deep dive because now, especially that we're getting like one-offs of Universal monster characters and other stuff, I think this is like kind of a fun thing to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, follow us on all of our socials. Check us out at Gravetone Pod everywhere. You can check out our website, gravetonepod.com, where you can check out, that's it, all of the written versions of these episodes, should you not want to listen to them, but you can also listen to them on the website. Hooray. And that's it. So until next week, guys, stay scared and stay tuned.
Ciao, guys.